Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Guys, what did we just hit on this last day of February?
You can't tell?
What was?
Upper body
We
stuff.
may have done some upper body things.
Yeah, we're feeling pretty good about ourselves
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, we went tough bench single, broke for a little bit, and then we went 5 rounds so we went every 2 minutes, alternating. So I went every 4, blah, blah, blah. Every 2 minutes, 8 dumbbell bench press, 16 alternating hang snatch, dumbbell hang snatch, and in remaining time, calories on the ski erg.
Yeah, it was an upper body pump.
Yeah, so
for
five
sure.
5 sets each.
Yeah.
5 sets each. So yeah, it was a good one.
The upper session.
Yeah, it was.
It
It was a great
was.
upper session.
Yeah.
Let's go bench 1 RM first. What was your number, Carl? What did you hit?
335.
I did 190.
190, 150. That was a new
PR for Georgia.
PR here.
All-time best.
Yeah, felt
Not a
good
PR
about
for
that. No, that's okay.
Neither.
Not for Carl either.
No, it was about 30.
Yeah,
30 pounds short
yeah.
when I was a larger human being.
Felt good. I don't know. I'm sure it's different for you guys, but like a bench 1 RM just feels like fun and exciting. It doesn't really take too much out of me. Load is like so relatively light,
Yeah.
being a female and all that. So
Well, it was relatively heavy.
Relatively heavy.
fair.
I won't even say absolutely light. That's
No.
a pretty good bench for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm not sure if you meant that higher to your 1 RM. Yeah, more females can do more volume higher to their 1
Yeah.
RM. So we played out that where you think you did 150 and then failed at 155.
Yeah.
But 150 looked like pretty good.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, 155, you know?
Yeah, it has some speed on there. James is like, rest 3, add 5.
You'll be
Let's do this.
fine.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah.
fine,
No.
but
It was a quick
good
drop.
good experiment and
Yeah.
good like reflection there of how quickly that
How many
can
attempts?
change.
How many attempts did you guys take overall? Building up?
7, I'd say. 7, yeah.
Around that. I think I was like, oh, okay, this is serious at like 135, 145, 150, and 155. We're probably like, I'm not sure about these weights.
Yeah.
Everything before that, I think I had like 2 or 3 warm-up sets before that.
Got it.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
8.
8?
Made a difference, yeah.
I think I did 5 or 6, but I did a bunch of pauses though. I just feel better when I kind of pause for 3-4 seconds at the chest and move up a little bit quicker. But I could have probably done more weight if I would have made more attempts.
Yeah.
330 felt tough, and then
Yeah, I hadn't done it in a while, so I didn't know what it was gonna be like.
yeah.
It's
Cool.
good though.
So that was the bench. Yeah, that was fun. That was a good one.
Indeed. And then next pace, so patterns inside of that. James?
Pushing and bending, and then full body flexion. So a slow pushing, and then a dynamic bending, and then a dynamic trying to be as sustainable as possible flexion, full body flexion movement.
Not sustainable.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. We did a pretty good job though.
That was challenging.
With experience, I think we've all had enough experience on it to kind of maintain a good pace
Yeah.
the whole time.
Pieces like that, you go set number 1 and your body kind of learns
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah.
So set number 1 is always like, how hard do I go? What's
Yeah.
too hard? What's not? And usually for me, I never come out too hard because I'm always like worried that I'm gonna spill over. So I did that on this one, where I think I came out at like 24 cals or something like that, 23 or 24 cals in the first one. And then I kind of went up from there and then tried to hang on at the end.
Yeah. I think I was like, what, 14, 15, 16, 15, 16.
Yeah.
That one in the middle, the 16 right in the middle where I lost about 5 seconds because I screwed up a transition on a hang snatch. And I was like, I gotta catch
You
up.
videoed that, didn't you?
I did, so.
Yeah, maybe we can.
It wasn't live.
Maybe
but
we
I'm
can
sure
show people that at a later time.
Yeah, we'll, a lesson on
The
how to
catch-up was better.
transition.
The ketchup was better than the whoopsie.
Definitely. We'll have to do a coach tip or something on how to
Yeah.
properly hand off a dumbbell snatch.
Oh, that's a
'cause-
good idea.
Yeah, I made a few mistakes there, especially with the open coming up.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure there's probably going to be dumbbell snatches in there, so
Probably.
you heard it here first. But yeah, I messed that up. Was like, I gotta make up time on the ski. The only time I like got over 1,000 cal an hour on the pace, and
Yeah.
that just like destroyed me
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
next 2.
Yeah.
Felt like trash.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where I don't care how excited I was going in the last couple, I couldn't get faster. Even if I knew, like on the last one, I was like, okay, 30 cals, I'm gonna hit it. And then I got there and I was like, there's nothing else I can do. I can't grunt my way to an additional 2 calories. So this is one of those ones where I thought I think I executed it okay because I didn't have that, you know, stored energy in the tank to go those extra couple calories. So the last set was the absolute hardest, and my score stayed the same as the previous one. So I just had to work harder to keep that score.
Yeah. I think that's a flexion pattern thing you may have done. I don't know, but I don't know. I'm going to make an assumption that your volume isn't high on the ski erg.
No.
Yeah, I would say mine is. Yours is probably relatively high. As an example, I'm probably doing 30 to 45 minutes a week total on a ski erg, with different intervals or my Monday cyclical work or weekend kind of stuff. That does make a difference in what you were discussing. So for you, it sounded like if you tip over in that flexion pattern, it's over. It's almost like handstand push-ups. Whereas we're saying that with volume, and which I've recognized with ski erg before, and you can watch our YouTube video on how to ski erg in order to get some more information on that.
Very good one.
We do want one of them.
Nice little product placement. But when your volume is really high, there's hardly any manner in which you can raise your threshold for distance pieces on it.
Yep.
You actually got to get bigger and taller and to change the weight and force output. Otherwise, you just get to the ceiling, and it's so it's good you spoke about that, because in ski erg, people are like, I just can't. And you got to be happy with that. Meaning like you're just at your top. Whereas maybe in rowing with the patterns and stuff, you could add some adrenaline and some sugar and maybe the correct kind of lactic training or whatever. You can get a little power. But with that, you're done. You're stuck in mud, and that's how you're going.
That's a beautiful thing though too, right? Like once you find that ceiling or that threshold on the ski erg, the goal and progression, if that's the goal, is to try to push that pace for as long as possible,
it's
or
volume.
that power
It's
output.
volume of that pace. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to work towards that, because I definitely, again, on those last couple sets, and I came over and said it to you, like my abs are cramping a little bit, like my core muscle endurance on that full body flexion is just not there, because I don't have volume built on the ski erg.
Yeah, and for others it may be something else, but there'll be parts of the pattern that will fatigue, and just gotta figure to put it all together with volume.
Yeah,
That's good principle.
Mine was grip forearms and trying to get blood out of there. So just like trying to figure out tactics between sets, and just got past set 3, and I was just like, it is what it is. Just gotta go.
Yeah, mine was there was nothing really, no recovery issues. It's just like I was limited by the actual movements. Just can't go faster.
We started strategizing towards the end. Every set, James's bench got like a little bit closer.
Just the last one. I was like, whoa, man.
The last one, and I still didn't make up for it.
No, but if you hadn't moved it in, you might not have got there. So.
Yeah, I noticed that the last 2 sets I focused on transitioning faster, so like faster tempos on the bench press, and just getting out of that snatch as quickly as possible. And I suffered on the ski erg because my power went down by almost 50 calories an hour when I started to strategize like that. So at the end, it was the same score. I got there faster, but I just wasn't as powerful because my transitions were too fast.
I know the tricks, man.
You've got more experience there.
I know the tricks.
I mean, so that kind of interval weight training, what kind of training age, what kind of avatar would you be giving something like that to in program design?
Well, it always comes back to, or what the question you're asking is always the general way that people fall short in prescription. And so I'll back it up for principle purposes. You always go back to say, what is the intention? That's how you always dictate if it's a good workout and for whom, right? So the intention of it is to try to make these kinds of contractions as enduring as possible, because that was the intention of what we were doing there. So really, it could, in some way, shape, or form, be for anyone. But then when you add in the modalities that are in it and the person you're dealing with, then it starts to change up who would be effective for it. But I think just from our own perspective, if we were to say that perfection for you was sustainability of the entire sets, you would need more experience for years and years of upper body strength development in order to come back and make that eloquently fine. I think you and I fit into that, like, we're probably that avatar. Lots of upper body training experience can make upper body dominant reps enduring, quote unquote. And we can recover between the pieces if we moderate metabolic efficiency. So I think probably to be isolated on who it's best for. You got lots of upper body resistance training endurance, meaning you've done motor control, strength endurance, and some max contractions in your life, and now you're experimenting with mixed mole aerobic work. I think that's where it may fit in for that person.
And then you can start to think about, because we didn't even talk about what loads did we use, right? Like we didn't even talk about that. But once you start to get that experience, and let's say we use probably 65 to 75% of our 8 rep maxes on the dumbbell bench press, with someone with no experience in upper body pushing or dumbbell bench pressing, that wouldn't even, what would you use?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, it's like maybe do push-ups, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's the thing where you just answered it. If you don't know the answer to your 65% of your 8RM dumbbell press, you probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, we can even go back and say if you can't do a 1RM bench press, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think even based upon our scores, we're probably seeing who fits into that.
Mm-hmm.
You still have potential. So if you still have potential in your max bench, you're probably getting to that area where you could make the rest of those sets pretty aerobic.
Yeah.
And we can modify it, but still it would come down to that. So I don't know if that answered the question on
Definitely did.
who's best for.
Intention.
It's a great upper body variation
Yeah,
for
that's
advanced trainees, though. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
challenge.
So intention, modality, and person.
Always dictates the dose, so that you can go back and say, who is that good for? Whenever you think about that, or is this good for this person? Just go back and answer those things, and then you'll see if it works for them.
And in conversations, developing that piece, if you had no experience, remember we were kind of talking about what do we want the time domains to be, how do we want to rotate this, and first we're kind of thinking like, okay, how much time do we want to spend on dumbbell bench press? And if we were like 30 seconds, that wouldn't have been a good session for us, because we would have
changed the weights.
Yeah. Or we would have went 20 seconds, because you know when you get to a point, it's like you can have 15s in your
Doesn't
hand.
matter what weight it
and
is.
You're driving and you're like, you get to like 20, 25 seconds, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
let me put this down and go again. So especially at a faster tempo, I just think that's important to understand, how you're going to respond to different kinds of doses and how long you're inside of those dosages and so on and so forth.
Yep. And how to prescribe that 8-16 as opposed to 30-30.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that was a fun one. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Was indeed. I'll drop the workout in the description in a moment, guys, so you can see it written down. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
Happy Sunday.
Dear Sunday.